Are you looking for the best gaming laptops under $1,000? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best laptops on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Asus ROG Strix G15. If we could only recommend one gaming laptop that costs less than $1,000, it'd be Asus ROG Strix G15. The machine is equipped with a fast AMD Ryzen 7 4700H processor, 8GB of memory, 512GB of storage, and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 with 4GB of dedicated video memory, and a 15.6-inch HD display with a refresh rate of up to 144 Hz. It's true that getting a gaming laptop with these specs requires you to push your budgets to the upper limit of under $1,000, but it's totally worth it. These specs are impressive today, but Asus also allows you to upgrade the machine with more RAM and a higher capacity SSD down the line, which is icing on the cake. These tech specs are complemented by a wide range of inputs and outputs, including 3 USB-A ports, a USB-C port, an HDMI port, an Ethernet jack, and a headphone jack. Many of these ports are located on the back of the laptop, which makes routing cables on a desk a lot easier. If you plan on using your gaming laptop as part of a desk setup at home in addition to taking it on the go, this design choice alone makes this the ultimate gaming laptop. What makes the ROG Strix 15 especially impressive is that Asus managed to cram these components into a laptop that weighs just 4.5 pounds, which is relatively light for a gaming laptop. Many cross the 5-pound threshold, which can weigh down your backpack considerably when commuting or traveling. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention this laptop's RGB keyboard and light strip, which can be customized to any color scheme you'd like. This is a fun extra, though we'd keep most of the lights turned off whenever possible to conserve power. If you've set a hard $1,000 limit on your gaming laptop purchase, and don't mind spending your entire budget, look no further than Asus ROG Strix 15. At number 2. Acer Nitro 5 and 515-55-53E5. We found a lot to like about Acer's Nitro 5, and it could easily have been our top pick if it was equipped with a little more storage. As it is, the Nitro 5 is built with an Intel Core i5-10300H processor, 8GB of RAM, a 256GB SSD, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 with 4GB of dedicated video memory, and a 120Hz 15.6-inch Full HD display. Having such a high resolution and high refresh rate display with you on the go will make a big difference when playing games, and we're pleased to see that the Nitro 5 is well spec'd enough to handle such a resource-intensive task. These internal specs are matched up with 3 USB-A ports, a USB-C port, an HDMI port, an SD card slot, an Ethernet jack, and a headphone jack. This is an impressive array of ports, and we're especially happy to see an SD card slot. This feature will allow photographers and videographers to use the Nitro 5's graphical horsepower for more than just playing games by letting them easily get media off of their camera. We've dinged Acer for limiting the Nitro 5 storage to 256GB by default, but you can pop in a larger SSD and additional memory to this machine if you'd like. If that's your plan, we'd argue that this machine is better than the Asus ROG Strix 15 in most cases. This gaming laptop's ports are located on its sides, which means your desk setup will be messier than if you chose Asus machine, but that's the biggest difference. If you want the highest level of performance out of a gaming laptop, and don't mind waiting a little while to upgrade your machine, Acer's Nitro 5 and 515-55-53E5 is an excellent gaming laptop under $1,000. At number 3. M1 MacBook Air. We'll be honest, macOS is not a platform designed for gaming, but Apple is attempting to turn that ship around by designing its own processors and courting game developers to port bigger titles to their platform. We don't expect macOS's game library to reach parity with what you can play on Windows, but understand some folks may prefer Apple's operating system for non-gaming tasks. If you want your one computer to run macOS and play games, we recommend the MacBook Air. It's equipped with Apple's M1 processor, which is far more power efficient than chips produced by Intel and AMD. The M1 only has one pool of memory that needs to be shared between the chip's processor and graphics cores, but it's so good that it can compete with laptops using a dedicated graphics card. The M1 is complemented by 8GB of memory, 256GB of storage, and a 60Hz 13.3-inch display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. These are impressive tech specs for a laptop that weighs just 2.8 pounds. These specs are fine for light to moderate gaming if you're interested in playing titles like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and the upcoming macOS version of Resident Evil Village. You can also subscribe to Apple's arcade service, which costs $4.99 per month and gives you unlimited access to a library of higher resolution versions of mobile games. Apple Arcade also features titles like Sayonara, Wild Hearts, a highly rated title that was also released on the PC and for game consoles. If you can accept the inherent game library limitations of the M1 MacBook Air, you'll be able to marvel at how a machine with no fan can play games without overheating after a few minutes of gameplay. Investing in this machine also means accepting Apple's adherence to making their machines unupgradable, and equipping them with a paltry 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. The future of gaming on the Mac appears to be getting brighter, and if you believe in Apple's ability to bring more titles to macOS, the M1 MacBook Air is a great machine. At number 4. Lenovo IdeaPad 3. Lenovo made the right choices when deciding which features to sacrifice in order to get the IdeaPad 3 down to its $653 price. The machine is packed with an AMD Ryzen 5 5600H processor, 8GB of RAM, 256GB of storage, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 with 4GB of memory, and a 15.6-inch 720p display with a maximum refresh rate of 120Hz. That screen resolution is a little low for our liking, but the fact that Lenovo chose a faster refresh rate was the right move for a gaming laptop. Additionally, playing games at a lower resolution requires fewer resources, which means the IdeaPad 3's graphics card should be able to play titles at faster speeds. We're happy that Lenovo didn't skimp on the IdeaPad 3's port selection. The machine has 2 USB-A ports, a USB-C port, an HDMI port, and an Ethernet jack. The laptop has a 720p webcam built into the lid, and a privacy shutter you can close when your video calls are over. The webcam isn't high resolution enough to use for Twitch streams, but it's sufficient for casual chats with friends and family. You won't be able to boost this gaming laptop's processor speed and graphical horsepower, but you can add more memory and storage with relative ease. It's possible to double the laptop's memory and quadruple its storage while staying under $1,000 if you shop around or wait for a sale. These opportunities make the Lenovo IdeaPad 3 an even better buy. As a bonus, Lenovo is bundling this gaming laptop with a free 3-month pass to Microsoft's Game Pass service, which allows you to get unlimited access to a wide variety of games, which you can download and play at your leisure for the duration of your subscription.